On this episode, we smoke The Pledge by E.P. Carrillo. We are smoking the prequel 5x50. This cigar made in the Dominican Republic by Carrillo features a Maduro broadleaf Connecticut wrapper, Ecuadorian binder, wrapped over Nicaraguan filler, was rated the number one cigar of 2020, came in with a rating of 98, highest rated cigar ever. Looking forward to smoking that. And we've got coffee with Francis, so we are looking forward to exploring the world of coffee. I'm your host, Johnny Midas, and you're listening to Burn Line Podcast. Burn Line Podcast. The burn line on a well-crafted cigar is straight and sharp as a razor, much like our wit and wisdom. And what's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages over the age of 21. Welcome to Burn Line Podcast, coming to you not live from the smoky back room where deals are struck and fortunes are made, adjacent to the McCann Estate, nestled amongst the bucolic rolling green hills of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, USA. I'm your host, Johnny Midas.
This is one of those episodes where I'm like, all right, Johnny, can we skip the intro? Like, let's just get into the cigars and the coffee.
Can we just smoke the cigar?
Yeah, come on, man.
And we've got Francis with us, making us amazing coffee. Oh, I've got some coffee right here. Okay, I'm going to sip this on air.
All right. That's great.
Interesting.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's good.
It's pretty concentrated espresso, isn't it?
Yeah, this is an americano, and it's got like a, I'm going to say fruity, acidic, and like Sunday morning vibe. That's what I get with it.
Wow. Ironically enough, it is Sunday morning.
Yeah, like this is not a weekday, get your shot of coffee before work, or, you know, your post-steak dinner. This is like a nice, bright, get up, say hello to Mother Earth. We're settling in. Yeah.
This is your Liver King, feet on the ground, bare feet on the ground, get connected with the earth.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's not take it too far.
Liver for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. His liver is king.
Are we gonna get? Are we gonna have to take this down if we? Or I think he's already in jail. I don't think. Oh my gosh!
Right,
thank you. Absolutely awesome. So we got Francis in the hot box with us today to share some coffee. We'll be talking about coffee, making kind of a hobby of his, and we are smoking the Pledge by E.P. Carrillo, which is a fucking amazing cigar. So, Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about this cigar and, I mean, these specific cigars? Yeah, go ahead. We can have as much background noise as you want.
So this cigar was a pandemic baby. This cigar was a little bit of a pandemic baby.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was in the works for years before that, but absolutely. Like, yeah. Struggle bus.
Yeah,
it came to the
right in 2020, 2021 region of time there. And actually, so Ernesto Perez Carrillo, for all of those cigar fans out there, had La Historia in 2014, which came in at number 2 in the Cigar Aficionado list. And then Encore Majestic was number 1 in 2018, I believe, which was the second cigar in the Perez Carrillo series. And so the Pledge, when it was announced, highly anticipated. Right, 2 cigars in the series previously had come in the top 2 in Cigar Aficionado's top 25 list. So,
right,
what are you expecting for the third one in the series? Only greatness.
I don't know. It could break either way. Like you finally ran out. Stuff to blend, or you keep. Well, they kept hitting home runs, right? So
they certainly did.
Yeah. So not only was it the cigar of the year in 2020, it was also the highest ranked of all time. Is that still holds?
Yeah,
for Cigar Aficionado,
98. Unbelievable.
Yeah, because like a 96 is like, holy fuck, go buy boxes of this cigar,
Yeah.
And a 94 is like, wow, this is a really, really good cigar.
Yeah.
I can smoke day after day.
Yeah. And some years, and I might be wrong about that, but some years like a 95 wins.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of the product of that year, but a 98, and actually one of my other favorite cigars came in at a 97 in 2015, and that was the My Father Le Bijou Torpedo Box Press, 97 rated too. Even though the scoring scale is too high, it should be based on 50.
It should be base 50.
Yeah, 100 is just too many numbers.
Okay, so all right, so americano, and this has got like cream on top, so it's espresso. Okay. Wow, that kind of changes, really changes the presentation. Yeah, but let's say that into a microphone. So we've got, if you hear background noise, Francis has got his coffee set up all here in the hot box.
And just spewing knowledge.
Yeah, just spewing knowledge. So we got power out here in our studio, so we've got filtered water and this machine that looks kind of like a spaceship, possibly a SpaceX product. And yeah, our boy Elon just gave it to us.
That's lovely.
So, and we have a bunch of different kinds of coffee in the studio. So
we do, yeah. Really lucky to have a couple local companies actually. Waldo's is one of them. Lenka is another one.
Yep. Trying both of these.
And my personal favorite, Nicholas Coffee and Tea Company from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Ooh, peanut butter cup.
You gotta smell this. I'm gonna open this and have you smell it.
Does it smell like peanut butter cup?
But it's not like cased, right? I mean, I'm sure it's cased a little bit, right? But it doesn't look. It's
not heavy, right? It's not soaked in oil.
My goodness.
Good God, that smells like Reese's. Totally.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah.
But the beans look natural.
Yeah, they don't have like that M&M crust around the outside.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, they look like normal coffee beans. If you handed me a handful of those beans, I'd be like, yeah, there's nothing on here. That's unbelievable.
Till you smell them. So, Francis, you were talking about, you just brewed an americano and an espresso, exact same bean. They came out really differently. So, tell me about what's going on there.
So, I mean, like with tobacco, there's so much versatility with just preparation, right? So as you know, like depending on ratio of wrapper, binder, filler, you can get completely different tasting blends. And with even just how you burn a cigar and how fast you're smoking it, you're going to get totally different flavor profiles, totally different experiences. And with coffee preparation, specifically like in the case of espresso, depending on how hot the water is hitting the grind, how fine, how loose the grind size is, depending on how much water you're pulling through, what the pressure is, if the pressure is consistent, there are a lot of variables. And so you having tasted the exact same beans with slightly different grind size, you're getting completely different flavor profiles.
Yeah, well, great like real-time education, like hands-on show and tell.
This is the only way I can excuse myself to have like vices for caffeine and tobacco.
Right.
It's like if I know more about this, I can have more of it, right?
Yeah, totally. And now it's a hobby, not a vice. So.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm an enthusiast.
Absolutely, or apasionado. So, Nick, if we don't start smoking these cigars soon, I'm going to shut off the podcast and quit. So, tell us about these specific cigars.
Right. So the Pledge Prequel, the blend is called Pledge. Prequel designates a size. So this one is a 5x50 typical Robusto soft box press with a Parejo cap. And I think, like you alluded to in the intro, it has a Connecticut broadleaf Maduro wrapper. Mm-hmm. I believe Ecuador binder.
Yep.
And then Nicaraguan fillers.
Yep.
Which is interesting because La Alianza, the factory, Ernesto's factory, is actually based in the Dominican.
Yeah.
So he kind of is like a Dominican, Dominican-based manufacturer. And so, not having much of any Dominican tobacco in this blend was interesting.
I just think the outlay there is fascinating because, like broadleaf, Connecticut broadleaf Maduro, or I guess this is technically like Habano. I don't know.
Connecticut Habano.
Habano. So Habano grown in the Connecticut River Valley, or
yeah, I think it's.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
that's the That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I don't know what the branding is.
Unfortunately, it's unclear, but
But known for, like, that type of tobacco is known for, your kind of earthy, chocolatey, meaty flavors.
Yep.
Your Ecuadorian is, kind of not known for those flavors. And then your Nicaragua is, like, on the spicy side. So I feel like, just thinking about the leaves, like, that's a really interesting combo just without tasting the cigar.
Yeah.
Right.
And this cigar was slated to release in spring of 2020. And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And it got pushed to fall of 2020. So these sat for an extra 6 months in the aging room.
6 to 9 months.
Yeah, almost an entire year. Just aging in the cedar rooms in the Dominican Republic before they were sent out to retailers. And I'll tell you, I picked up a box the day I saw it, and we smoked one, and it was unbelievable.
All right, so the Perez Carrillo Pledge, and as you said, they call the Vitola the prequel, but it's basically a standard Robusto softbox press. Let's talk about the presentation. So the wrapper, to me, rustic. It's not toothy, but it definitely has texture, a lot of texture.
Yes, 100%. Bumpy, rough.
Yeah. It has this gold ribbon on the foot, and the only thing that I don't like about it is they use kind of this typical clear tape to seal the ribbon. I see that a lot on most cigars, and if you think about how you make a cigar, it's definitely the most efficient way to put that ribbon there. However, I don't like how it looks.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I like it better than gluing the ribbon because sometimes the ribbon gets stuck to the...
Absolutely, because the glue sometimes soaks through the ribbon.
Exactly.
Because, it's woven.
But these they slide off so easy when you put that tape on.
Yeah.
All you got to do is...
The tail is loose if you want to mess with it.
Yeah.
Which I'm doing.
Yeah, look at that.
Boom.
Simple, easy.
Right.
No wrapper damage.
No wrapper damage whatsoever. And then we've got the Perez Carrillo Pledge main band with the Perez Carrillo band underneath. It's got that like royal marine blue. Kind of, there's actually like 3 shades of blue in there. I don't even know if you noticed.
Yeah.
Very what I call old world styling. So like a lot of Carrillo's branding. For folks that aren't familiar, think, I guess, like in the spirit of my father, kind of in the
100%.
The
100%.
language.
Absolutely. La Roma de Cuba.
Yeah.
Yep.
In contrast to, like, Upman or some of these, even Padron kind of goes after the old school, like pre-embargo band style, where it's like, here's a 5mm thick band,
right.
that just has the thing on it.
Yeah.
This is the I'm wearing fucking gloves and I'm not going to get them stained with tobacco band, right?
Yeah, 100%. Let's do this, dude. Come on, man.
All right, it is time for the official cutting, brought to you by Fat Boy Cigars. The bold and delicious flavors of premium hand-selected tobacco leaves are highlighted in the original Jacked cigar by Fat Boy Cigars, as well as the Jacked 2. And don't forget to try the Fat Boy Cigars Boots on the Ground series. For every cigar you purchase in this series, Fat Boys Cigars will donate $1 to charities benefiting our frontline heroes. Fat Boys Cigars. Welcome
to the Fat Boys world.
Woohoo! Great sponsor. We're really happy to be partnered up with them and the work that they're doing with the donations. Awesome. I think it was over $200 for breast cancer awareness.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Thin Red Line coming soon for us on this podcast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right.
We're going to smoke that on the podcast.
Yeah, very soon.
All right. So getting these cigars clipped. As always, we remind you to clip those cigars with authority. No limp-wristed cutting allowed. So we've got these little kind of jingles that we do. Clip the cigar with authority, toasted, not roasted. And we did talk about, what do we mean? What's the difference between toasted and roasted?
Oh, yeah.
And I lit up that spare cigar.
Yeah.
and just showed you what roasting is. So yeah, some of it like we definitely have this like branding and stuff, but it's so that it's memorable, so you won't ruin a perfectly good cigar. All right, let's do a cold draw on this one.
Yeah, cedar and chocolate.
I was gonna say, besides the ubiquitous raisins,
Yeah, right.
definitely got cedar on that, and like a cedar stick that someone licked and then stuck in a cocoa powder can.
Yeah. And the chocolate fountain. Yeah.
All right.
I gotta fill my lighter real quick. Give me 1 second, all right?
Yes, Nick the Brick is filling up his lighter. We're using butane torches. I am using my electrician's butane torch. It's kind of my new favorite. I think I've been using it.
Yeah.
I got to warn you and everybody else. I have the world's most Johnny Midas lighter ever coming.
You said that last week, too.
I did, yeah. I mean,
where's it at? In transit?
It's being manufactured for me.
Wow, custom made.
Yes. I had this lighter custom made for Johnny Midas. And when you see it, you are going to fucking laugh your ass off because it's perfect. I mean, it is literally perfect.
It's better than the Rocky one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's an off-the-shelf one that just kind of matches the vibe.
Yeah.
But this one is, like, severe for real. So,
if you want.
All right. And you've got your triple flame, and Francis is using El Match Ball. So let's get to toasting.
Come
and
on.
as always, we remind you, toasted, not roasted. And this is one of those cigars that just reminds you not to fuck up your cigar.
Yeah. Take your time, for the love of God.
Like, this is such a nice cigar. And this particular box, March 2021, is that?
Yeah, March 2021.
And they've been aging properly since. That's one thing I got to say about Nick the Brick. His awesome cigar collection is also properly cared for, which I greatly appreciate.
Are you down to help me make an Excel spreadsheet of my inventory?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
It's a trap. Francis says it's a trap. It's probably a fucking trap.
No. Every time I've helped this man sitting here, this liar.
Every time you've helped him.
Yeah. Every single time I've helped him inventory everything, he's let it utterly go to waste. We've spent hours going through.
So this is one of those things where, like, you make the spreadsheet, you never use it, and you never update it, and then you get someone to do it again.
That's fine. If that's the case, fine. If you guys force my hand and I never use the spreadsheet again, no problem. But where'd you get that? Where'd that come from? I made it. That you made? Okay. This is so good.
We are taking our first couple of puffs.
It smells so good. Oh, just take it as slow as you can.
Okay, so my first comment is absolutely the temperature and humidity on this is damn near perfect. I know there's a little window there. I would say that this is probably like 68% in humidity, and the hot box is the perfect temperature for smoking cigars. What are we, about 68 right now?
In here? It's 65 maybe.
65.
Yeah. It's cooler in here.
Yeah.
And I keep my house that cool.
Yeah. Which affects, for me, it definitely affects the taste buds and experience, because as it warms up, like, my nasal cavities start producing, like, more mucus, and I think there's also just a correlation between temperature and either dryness in the winter or fucking pollen and shit in the summer.
So you want smelling salts?
No. No. Did that once, and god damn, that was awesome, though.
We were... Harper was inside, and I gave John the smelling salts, and he goes, "Oh, Jesus!" and Harper's just starts barking, going crazy, like, what's going on out there?
I thought it was the second coming.
Yeah. That was, I mean, yes, yeah, he hit it hard.
But seriously, like, it was this far away. Like it was this, and I was like, I'm gonna see what I'm getting into. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah, that stuff is
punch me
real.
in the fucking nose.
Yeah.
That was a sinus rocket.
Yeah.
My dumbass opened the can in the car.
It says, "Do not do this in a car." We were just like passing it back and forth, like.
And now it's totaled. Does anybody know a good insurance company? Francis, tell me about your stick.
Yeah. Okay. So, Nick, is this one bringing you back to the first time we tasted this blend? So this was middle of the pandemic. These had just launched, and we had been waiting for them. We remember when they delayed them, and we've been waiting for them for about 8 months before we got a hold of that box. Different Vitola though, right? We had the Sojourn. And that really is like one of the singular smoking experiences I had where I lived what I've said, which is you should only smoke a cigar for exactly as long as you enjoy it. But then like part of me always had that like nagging suspicion of like, nah, but are you like wasting your money if you're putting a stick out and it's like half gone or you're at the quarter mark? Do you take the wrapper off to continue smoking? I don't think I could say I truly believed it until that moment. Yeah. Nick, you want to bring us through what that experience was? Dark room.
Yeah. Yeah. So that I traveled into Maryland that day, and I went down to Bethesda, and I went into a store that I haven't been in a while, and I didn't know. So I knew that the pledge had shipped, but I didn't know that they had arrived anywhere. And as soon as I saw it, I impulse bought an entire box, which was a box of 10, not having tried the cigar at all. And it was the Sojourn, so it was a 6x52 Vitola with the same kind of box press style. And Francis and I were bunking up at the time, and I came home that evening, and I was like, "Hey, I got something," because it's, we'd been talking about it for months, and he was like, "Oh, you want to go down? You want to go down to the shop?" And like we had after hours access, so I went down to the store and sat in the back lounge with all the lights off, no TV on, no phones. Yeah. We were,
So set and setting were perfect. You weren't distracted.
Yep. Like all our senses were
dedicated to the cigar.
Quiet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we match toasted or cedar toasted.
3 match light.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think we used 3 matches each, the long matches, and we smoked.
Toasted, not roasted.
Oh, we toasted the crap out of that cigar. And we smoked 2.5 to 3 inches of the 6-inch cigar, and we put it down, and we were like, "That was it."
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was.
No, not that was it. Like that was amazing. And like,
Yeah.
That's
And I'm satiated.
Well, all right. That was it. That was the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Right. Like that was the height of. That was the height of enjoyment. There, I wanted nothing more after that. Mm-hmm. And we probably went outside and smoked a cigarette or something. But,
yeah, looking back, I'm like, man, that was fucking awesome.
All right, so I've got a couple of notes. First of all, the draw is just about perfect on mine.
Yeah.
I used my Perdomo close-ended double guillotine, and it looks like it took off just enough. So, I'm not a cigar snob, but I'm very picky. So I like to say that I'm not a snob, and everyone else says I am, but I'm very particular about back pressure. Right? Like draw pressure is a big component of cigar enjoyment for me. Sometimes with box press, the draw changes after it lights up. A lot of the time it gets tighter. Sometimes it gets looser, but usually it gets tighter.
Yeah. That heat will expand the tobacco and...
Yeah, because if you look at the foot that's, where the cherry is, like, it's not box pressed anymore. It's round.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Yep.
And so I'm half an inch in, which means the change is, like, here to stay, and the back pressure is perfect on it. Look at the burn line. It's, like, perfect. We talk about the 3 tones of the burn line.
Yeah.
And
the ash is super tight.
Ash is super tight.
There's one small flake.
Fantastic smoke output.
Yeah.
It's not a smoke bomb, but fantastic.
Dang it.
I should have looked at the cigars. These are my cigars that I was just so nice enough to share with John and Francis, and I should have checked them before, but Francis got the toothy one.
Francis got the toothy one.
Francis got some bumps on his, which is awesome.
There's very soft bumps all over the leaf, but it's not really what we would call toothy. But it's definitely that dry aged, super aged tobacco. Yeah, that's toothy. Love it. And by the way, this is the new in thing for folks that are trying to put a luxury brand together for cigars. What's really popular right now, what people are looking for in a cigar is, first of all, it needs to look like it came out of the earth, like farmer's market fresh kind of thing. And this has that down in spades, so the kind of like end of the cigar boom, there was this thing where like they were trying to make the wrapper leaf look super smooth and shiny. That is not really common anymore. So we experienced that on the Septimo Botticelli, and we commented on how smooth and waxy the wrapper was, and definitely went to a lot of trouble with that wrapper, but that's just not cool anymore. And then the other aspect, and we encourage all cigar manufacturers to take advantage of this, is social media and the internet in general. Like, I want to be able to go to your website and click on the cigar and see the regions and how it was aged and all of that. Tell a story. Make this super cool. I don't want to guess. This undisclosed blend thing. I mean, I get if you have to do it for legal reasons.
Yeah,
but
right.
That is part of the cigar smoking experience anymore. The smartphone and cigar, that's the new thing. So take advantage of it. Gorgeous cigar, but smoke output and back pressure is just about perfect.
Yeah.
Really impressed with this. And then the other thing is I'm getting a little bit of a buzz. Like, this is a strong cigar.
What's up, everybody? Johnny Midas here with my smoke of the week. I am smoking the Solamente 2023 limited release from All Saints Cigars. This is a 5x58 that is rolled in Rocky Patel's Tabacusa factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. It has a Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro wrapper, which is wrapped around Nicaraguan and Honduran leaves. This is a strong and robust cigar with characteristics of charred wood, dark chocolate, and some of that baking spice rack flavors like cloves and maybe allspice. All of that wrapped around a nice earthy flavor. So go ahead and grab you a All Saints Solamente limited edition 2023. If you like a strong punchy smoke, this is the cigar for you. I'm Johnny Midas, and you're listening to Burnline Podcast.
Yeah, it is. And we're drinking, this coffee's awesome. Very concentrated espresso and Americanos here.
But
so
it's
the two are going.
ounce.
Yeah.
It's like 2 ounces maybe.
The two are going really well together, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's what's interesting on this is the like the predominant flavors. Like, I've definitely got leather, nuts, chocolate. But if you pay attention, especially if I think it's because I retrohale almost every puff, there's apple pie in there. It's like apples and cinnamon and sugar and spice.
Wow. I mean, this is one of those cigars that I would describe as like intoxicating. Mm-hmm. This is just
Right now, this is one of those cigars where it's like, if you're a cigar smoker, you have these like holy grail moments where it's like, that is what smoking a cigar should be.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, coddled in the arms of cigar luxury. Nothing else really distracting your senses.
I forgot to tell you guys, I spilled bleach on this box a couple weeks ago.
You're so full of shit.
Yep, chlorine and laundry detergent. Yeah, this is fantastic. Really, really good. Awesome.
You know what's really cool about
job.
the cigar?
What's really cool about the cigar?
You can actually smell the wrapper while you're smoking it. And I don't know if you can smell like peanuts. Like there's peanuts on the wrapper. I think that's where I'm getting the nut flavor from, actually.
Also, like the flavor of just the wrapper on the lip.
Yeah, Francis is saying the flavor of the wrapper on the lips.
It's like peanuts, graham cracker. Like there's a sweetness there.
Dude, I want some of this
peanuts and graham
I want some of this
cracker.
peanut butter cup coffee.
Peanut butter cup coffee. So you're going to ruin a perfectly good cigar with an infused coffee. Way to go, Nick the Brick.
I think this is how they grew it. This is how it came out of the ground.
Yeah, they took a peanut butter cup, a Reese's peanut butter cup, and they put the seed in the cup.
Yeah.
And then they transplanted it.
Well, they hybridized the coffee bean with the peanut butter cup plant, and
That's how they got it.
yeah, Reese's grows their products.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole thing right now going on with like a labor dispute with the labor that they used to pick those Reese's cups off the trees.
Come on, here, smell this bag of coffee again. You don't like that?
I like it. It's very strong.
Oh my gosh, you guys are babies. That smells so good. I didn't get to trick or treat this year, all right? Right? You want some chocolate?
So we are smoking the Pledge by E.P. Carrillo. We are smoking the Prequel 5x50 size, and getting a lot of enjoyment out of this so far. Fantastic cigar. And we are drinking some coffee that was freshly prepared for us, ground, measured, weighed out, and made by Francis. So, Francis, why don't you tell us a little bit about coffee? So, coffee is one of those things that pairs well with cigars. We're always enjoying a cup, I think, every episode. But there's more to coffee than just a Keurig. So, Francis, why don't you tell us about coffee?
Yeah, no. So I think my entry point with coffee was really through tobacco first, or just realizing I'm always drinking coffee when I'm either smoking a pipe or smoking a cigar. And so the way that I treated my experience with tobacco was also, well, let's learn more about this thing. And I can be obsessive, and so I just love to learn as much as I can, probably to the point that I'm like, we're splitting hairs here. Yeah. For example, like cigar taxonomy is just an utter mess. I think the draw and why things pair so well, like the culture of coffee and the culture of tobacco, that's so great is that it's an organic product, right? And so there's going to be variation, there's going to be versatility, and so like you can remove as many variables as you want, but you always know what you're getting is going to be unique and original, right? The mark of a good blend in either case, right? Whether it be for a cigar or in the case of a unique coffee blend, is like that it's standardized, right? When you pick up the same cigar time and time again, you expect to get the same flavor profiles, the same notes, the same smoking experience. The same's going to be with coffee too. And the challenge is also the same, right? So you're expecting, I get the same brand of coffee. Is this going to taste the same?
Right.
And so that's the challenge that the blenders and the roasters have in both cases.
And I think too, the aha moment is very special when you're tasting different cigars and different coffees. And that's kind of something that drew me in at first was, you were the one that taught me a lot about cigars, and you would hand me one cigar and say, here, you taste these notes in this one, now try this other cigar.
Right.
And you see how they're different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my eyes just, get wide. I'm like, wow, how is that possible? It's crazy. And we're having that same experience with some of these coffees this morning as well. And generally speaking, that's kind of what we like about coffee.
Yeah, and anything that grows in the ground, like you have to make friends with it. Mm-hmm. Whether you're a chef, so my side thing is cooking, right? You have to like make friends with the ingredients. How am I going to make this shine? And it's the same with tobacco leaves. It's the same with coffee. Anything that grows in the ground, you have so many variables that go into the final product. The weather that year, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Or same thing with wine. You've got to take advantage of what came out of the ground that year.
We have to do a wine episode.
Yeah, we got to do it.
We have to.
And I just realized that our creepy golden Johnny Midas studio art is smoking a fucking pledge. Look at that.
Wow.
I mean, it is exactly fucking. You got to snap this. Yeah, this has got to go on Insta. I mean, this is
amazing.
This is amazing.
We didn't even plan this.
We didn't even plan. I mean, it's a pledge. Look.
You think he took it out of my stash?
I think he did. I mean, and it's even the prequel size.
Yeah. Yep.
The
That's
reason
lovely.
that the statue is creepy, besides the uncanny valley thing, is like, Francis, look at this hand. Okay.
That's a fat hand to a small face.
Yeah, and then look at the face. So this looks like a 45-year-old powerlifter feeding a cigar to a 12-year-old
child.
boy. Yeah, that's
That's right. That's right.
We absolutely do not condone that.
Yeah, that is a fully grown, like, large man hand.
Yes.
Look at that thumb.
Yeah, that's potentially a
Dude,
crossbreed with a
that's
gorilla.
a toe.
This is actually Tarzan when he was a child, and his gorilla father was actually
Feeding a cigar to Jane, apparently. Yeah, very tiny face. Well, let's just say you don't have to get the proportions right to sell clutch on Instagram that people like Johnny Midas are going to buy just because it's a gold statue with a cigar in it.
Yeah, I would just be creeped out when this thing starts moving.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got to get more corny studio art for sure.
Yeah, we got to get a studio.
What are you talking about?
Yes,
the
sir.
hot box isn't good enough for you?
The hot box is, it's like one of those things where like home is where the heart is, right? The hot box is where the cigars are. Wherever we are and the cigars are, it's the hot box, right?
Don't give away all our secrets, man. This studio cost $100,000.
Yeah, of my money.
Oh. So, speaking of coffee, there's a lot of different types of ways to make coffee. What's on my face?
You got it.
Get it?
It was just a little fuzzy.
There's
Yeah.
a spider web on my face.
Can I ask Francis to take us through the process with this machine?
Yeah, but let's talk about some different ways of preparing coffee. Francis, you want to? Yeah, talk us through.
Nice.
I think everybody's familiar with the Keurig because, and I'm not putting anybody down, but you know, I've gone to cigar lounges across the U.S., 15 different states, you know, dozens of cigar lounges. A lot of them and the owners are, you know, we're friends. We email. They let me know when they have special shit in, you know, all of this. But the most common thing I'll see in these lounges is a Keurig, which I freaking hate because I like coffee.
Yeah, but similar to like the cigar smoking experience, like anybody smoking a cigar, it is their right to enjoy it how they're going to. Now we can judge whether or not, like, you might enjoy it more if you did it these ways, but at the end of the day, like, everybody's going to enjoy things differently.
The
and I
Keurig
think
is just,
that's the case with coffee too.
yeah, the Keurig is just very easy.
Yeah, it's the convenience of it,
Yeah,
right?
It's very convenient if you're running a store for sure.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
that's
just
right.
going to Costco and getting the bulk pods, and it's cost effective, horrible for the environment. You know, the usual things that Americans prioritize.
Yeah, is this gonna be cheap for me, fast, and like affect some sea turtle somewhere? Yeah, I want that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, in automobile manufacturing, they have this triangle, right? It can be good, it can be fast, it can be cheap. Pick two.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and I completely reject that paradigm. I think you can have it all. But there's some truth there. So, all right, so everyone knows the Keurig. I think everybody knows, like, the automatic drip.
Yeah,
you know,
and
basket
I mean,
drip.
drip is classic, right? A lot of great drip machines out there. So part of this is what's going to determine what, like, mode or method that you're brewing your coffee is going to be grind size and then the type of roast you have, right? So particular types of roasts will just lend better to, like, drip coffee. So it can be tricky if you have, like, a really light blend to be able to pull espresso with it, right? Now, depending on, like, your grinder, your grind size, you might be able to pull something, but in the same way that, like, if you've got a really great wrapper that you want to showcase in a Lancero, where it's like a delicate wrapper and it won't come through with a particularly, like, strong filler, yeah, you might not be able to get those notes in the case of, like, pulling espresso or using French press as you would with, like, something like drip, you know? So you're able to take into account all these different factors of, like, let's look at this roast, let's look at, like, our ingredients here, and then again, like, be in relationship with it. See like, what is going to be best, like, how is this best going to manifest its flavors, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you were mentioning earlier that you love a good French press, and I do too. So and one of the differences as far as grind goes with French press versus espresso is you're grinding way finer for espresso, and you're getting like all the extraction through those fine particles. With French press, you've got a much coarser grind size, and so the way it's extracting is slower and over time, right? And then you're pushing the grinds out.
Yeah. So different ways to roast the coffee, different ways to grind the coffee, different ways to brew the coffee. And have you experimented, like, you'll have one bean and you'll kind of grind it and brew it several different ways?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then even just with, like, say in the case of espresso, is just tweaking grind size. So like I'll pull an espresso shot and I'll like make it into an americano or I'll make it a latte. Or I'll have a single bean and I'll try it. I'll grind it for drip. I'll grind it for French press, and then I'll make it for espresso. And then normally I'll be like, okay, this one's best in one of these ways.
Right. Yeah. So a little experimentation. It's a little bit not quite a finished product. So it's different from a cigar. Like when you have a cigar, you roast it and you taste it. But with the coffee bean, like you're kind of doing that last bit, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like if you had a cigar starter kit where you had like a filler and binder,
That's right.
and you could choose the wrapper kind of. And, stuff like that.
It might like translate better to something like the pipe experience.
Yeah.
So like you've got the blend and like how am I going to pack this pipe? Am I going to choose something with like a bigger bowl so it smokes cooler? That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of variability when it comes to smoking a blend in a pipe.
We should do a pipe episode. I like pipes, but there's so much damn work. That's the only thing.
No, yeah, it's being in a relationship again, right?
Yeah.
You got your pipe.
You got to care for your pipe.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the ritualized aspect of it.
Yeah. And that's part of what makes these hobbies so enjoyable to me is like the ritualized aspect. Where you're creating space in your life for something enjoyable and unnecessary. Right. So there's a little bit of a pampering element. And it reminded me, I was thinking on the drive over here about 3 archetypal cigar smokers. And I thought, should I share this with the audience? Like, is there value to this? And I think there is, because it might help our listeners kind of figure out their behaviors and how they can maximize their enjoyment. And the first archetype is the non-cigar smoker that picks up a cigar from time to time to celebrate. For folks in that category, maybe that type is not so likely to listen to this podcast, but maybe they picked up a cigar that they don't normally smoke cigars, and they want to know about it, and they found it on our podcast. So they're listening to our episode, right? They're like, I picked up a pledge by Carrillo. What should I expect? That sort of thing.
Well, you can't get into the hobby without doing that first part, right? Is have the occasional cigar and.
Yeah, I think so. Right.
I'm thinking about people who enter the hobby and how they get into it. Right? You smoke the one-off cigar, right? Not intending to like have big boxes of cigars in your house, right? And then you kind of fall in love with it. Or you really like the experience so much that you continue to pursue it.
Yeah, Nick. So, how long ago was it that we smoked our first cigar together?
4 years.
2019. No, it was 19. Yeah, I think it was probably summer of 19. No, it was your graduation, right? So it was May of 19. So
19 what?
What's that?
May of 19 what?
2019.
Oh, good God, you baby. All right, keep going.
Yeah, and so it was great because I had been at the cigar club at that point for a while and had been learning a lot of stuff and having a lot of fun with it. And I was like, I got to get Nick into this. And so what I did was we were at our friend's house, and I had brought some cigars, and one of those cigars that I brought, it was a number 2, so it was a Pyramid Diamond Crown Maximus that was about 17 years old out of a special line. And I had lit it, and I was like, all right, Nick, you have to taste this. And Nick just straight inhales the entire thing. Well, no. So, I mean, you were like, what do I do with this? What is this experience? And at that moment, I realized, oh, okay. So it was like a learning moment for me too, in like how to teach about cigars.
Yeah.
It was like you have to choose the right like setting and also like the right cigar for somebody who's brand new to something, because your experience now, or maybe even your experience 6 months after that, would have been completely different having smoked some more cigars in between then, to be able to have those points of comparison, right? Like you don't know the difference between an aged cigar and an unaged cigar until you smoke them.
Right.
And 17 years is, for that blend, just a phenomenal amount of aging. And so for you, I think like when it comes to some of the first cigars that you like used as your entry point, I'm thinking about the number 4 Lancero for my father. I'm thinking about the White Series for Ashton. Yep, absolutely. Yep. So the Nat Sherman Metropolitan line, we were really big fans of Nat Sherman. We were pretty heartbroken when Altry dropped them, but happy that Mike Herklotz continued the beloved lines.
And I got into cigars in a little different way. I was looking for, where can I meet interesting people with disposable income? And I was literally going through the Yellow Pages, because that still existed back then. And I was in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I was at corporate for some training. I didn't know anything in the city. I'm like, oh, the old-fashioned candy shop, all this touristy stuff. I'm like, I don't want to waste my time doing touristy stuff. I want to meet people.
Yeah.
And I saw a cigar lounge, and I was like, well, yeah, I associated cigars with, like, old rich people, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I'll go hang out there. So I went and I met a retired federal district court judge and a 102-year-old Iwo Jima vet who was walking around puffing on a cigar with oxygen in his nose.
Amazing.
Dude did not give a fuck.
No.
ZFG, sharp as a tack and sarcastic. I'm like, he's just too, this guy's just too ornery to pass away. And I was hooked, and for me, like I guess the lounge experience is an integral part, right? So I do smoke
100%.
Smoke cigars, but the lounge is very important to me.
Yeah.
And meeting other folks.
Yeah.
So that's the first archetype. And if you're in that category, my recommendation would be listen to Burnline Podcast, get some cigar knowledge. Even if you're only smoking, when you're with the boss on the golf course,
yeah,
or for your anniversary or whatever, it can only improve your experience to have some knowledge and experiment a little bit.
Well, and you need to take 30 seconds while you're having a cigar, doing whatever you're going to do, and just think to yourself, do I enjoy this? Right? Ask yourself that question.
Right. Am I doing this for social status or because I enjoy it?
Right. And then that's going to, then we can follow the question tree out from there. But that's really if your answer is no.
Yeah, if you're doing it for social status, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Now you just know I'm not going to buy one of these on my own.
Yeah.
But you might find yourself like, hey, this is actually really enjoyable.
Right. Exactly.
Grinding some coffee in the background here. And look at the legs on this espresso. You can see like the very fine grinds in there.
It was so thick.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just unbelievable.
And the second archetype is the daily cigar smoker. So this is the guy with a Havana Q hanging out of his mouth, that always has a cigar, right? If you're that guy, then what you want to figure out is what can you afford to smoke every day that's kind of like the best experience that you can afford, right? I always joke that, my financial goals is to be able to smoke a Padron every time.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Daily smoking Padron.
Yeah.
You're a big Perdomo guy.
No, wrong P word. No, actually, I'm a Fuente guy. I collect Fuentes. To me, like, I don't know. It's like the classic cigar experience.
Yeah, and you like that Cuban style.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
But and then so if you're in that category, yeah, I would say your goal is what can I purchase on the daily that rings my bell, that I can budget for, and then the third archetype is actually probably the most folks that I know that smoke cigars fall into this category, and it's the person for whom smoking a cigar is something they do more frequently than the special occasion cigar smoker. Maybe not daily.
It's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're pampering yourself.
Yeah.
The archetype is this is a completely unnecessary, enjoyable, and not cheap hobby
Right.
that I'm doing to pamper myself.
Not all the time, right?
Not all the time. What?
You're not doing it all the time.
Yeah, you're not doing it all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
The second archetype is the guy that does it all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, this is a the special treat guy, and most of the cigar smokers I know fall into this category.
I believe this is me.
Yeah.
I do not smoke a cigar every day.
Yeah.
This is my first cigar this week.
It's Sunday.
This is my first cigar last week.
First cigar since last week.
Yeah. I first cigar. This is the first cigar I smoked since we smoked the. I don't even know what we smoked last week. Oh, the Tatuaje Monster.
Yeah. I really hope I can recover that audio. We had a
Yeah.
Halloween special. It's not on the webs yet. Had some technical difficulties there, which I sorted out for this episode. So, but yeah, and this sort of category, you're looking for, how can I treat myself? There's still a budget involved, obviously, but it involves, I guess, I would say, smoke your way around the humidor.
Yeah.
We talked about this before. This is kind of like that intermediate step.
That's
of
right.
Like
Yeah.
try the different countries, regions, blends, wrappers, sizes, vitolas, and then figure out what you like.
Right.
And then like I feel like a Carrillo pledge.
Right. That's right. That's awesome. Yeah. That's. I think that's an excellent point. Right. When you get to the point where your mood dictates what you smoke, and you kind of have a good grasp of what would satiate your mood.
Right. Like I'm trundling along in my in the Beast, my 2002 4Runner with the 3-inch lift and the 35-inch motors, and I'm listening to like the opening track to Predator, and I've got a lunatic jammed in between my teeth.
Yeah, that's a mood. That's a mood,
right?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, or you you have like a suit and tie on for some reason, and like you want to sit on the back porch with like a nice cup of tea and
a Ferio Tego.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's all about that, like, and the knowledge, right, that you develop to be able to fit that mood. Mm-hmm. Yeah, John, I think that's an excellent point, man. That's probably the smartest thing you've ever said.
Low bar, I know. So I've also got some coffee beans here, and I brought them whole, non-ground, just so you could like run your fingers through it, and you can feel, when we look at the beans, we look at how they present, we smell them, and then I also feel them, feel them for oil. These are not super oily, a little waxy.
Yeah.
But you can really kind of experience the beans. And I always do this with my beans. Like I'll stick my fingers and then I rub them together and you can feel the oil, right?
Yeah.
So as I rub them, like my fingers are now oily. But the bean it's not like, it looks like oil and I can like smear it off.
Right.
Right. That would be the El Septimo Botticelli.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Leaves your finger sticky.
That's right.
You can get that on coffee beans too.
100%.
Usually when they're treated, but anyway. So that's just an example of some beans. And then, when I'm preparing my coffee, most of the time I have a Nespresso at work, and I'll make a little 1.5 ounce espresso with it. Again, cheap, easy. The Nespresso brand coffee is actually pretty good. Typically, it's an Italian roast, although you can branch out now. I got some Cuban the other day.
Ooh, Cuban coffee.
Yeah, Cuban Nespresso pods. They were
Cuban Nespresso pods.
ridiculously expensive. They were like $1.65 a pod or something.
Wow.
No embargo on Cuban coffee.
I don't know. They were so expensive because I got them in Europe, so maybe it was actual
imported from Switzerland.
Yeah, maybe it was actual Cuban coffee.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Habano's branding.
yeah,
Habanos essay.
Yeah. But when I'm, kind of ritualizing the coffee, it's French press, and that's largely because I have an auto drip, a Keurig, an espresso, and a French press. So
Yeah.
given those choices,
Different types.
I usually select the French press.
Right.
And I like to start from actual beans. I don't buy ground coffee because basically the flavor escapes. Also I can't control the grind. I might want a heavier grind for French press, or I might not. If I'm using my automatic drip, I use a finer ground.
How was the Cuban coffee?
It was really good. It reminded me of Turkish coffee. Like, it's light but strong, which kind of fits with Cuban cigars, like that whole flavor profile.
I want to touch on something that you were just talking about with your touching the beans.
Yeah.
And it's the enjoyment of these things using all of our senses and not just the taste.
Mm-hmm.
And we do the same exact thing with cigars, where we pick up the cigar and we admire the wrapper with our eyes, and we smell the foot of the wrapper. We do the cold draw, we taste it. Even, doing the little test to see if it's properly humidified with your ears, listening to the tobacco. And then obviously, indulging in lighting and smoking the cigar. But that's the same thing with the beans, that, you're touching the beans, right? You're listening. They clack together. They have...
The sound of that indicates like how wet the beans are.
Right, yeah. Yeah, density, volume, stuff like that. Smelling the beans, and then, looking at, are they super oily? Feeling, are they super oily? And then looking at the kind of the grind size too. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with cigars that we do with coffee, and we do with food, and we do with all of the things that we tend to enjoy.
Yeah,
it's not a monosense experience.
How many times have you been annoyed by somebody like smacking their gums while they're eating? Why would that annoy you? Right? And the answer is it's a multisensory experience.
Yeah.
And have you ever been to like a wine tasting?
I have not.
So, not all the time, but very frequently, they'll actually tink the glass.
Okay.
Because they're trying to engage the sense of hearing, even though you can't really hear much more than swishing and breathing oxygen in through your teeth. To taste the wine.
Even, oh my gosh, when I think of like wine, I think of the uncorking sound, and I think of the oxygen going into the bottle as the liquid's coming out. The glug, 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 glug. Like, that's...
The sound of aeration, right?
Yeah, and that's incredible because your sense of sound is not...
Yeah.
It's not something that anyone would associate with tasting a wine.
Well, yeah, so like, if you're thinking about celebration, right? Just the mood of celebration. What's a sound that comes to mind?
Glasses clinking together.
Glasses clinking together.
Yep.
Champagne cork popping.
Yep.
Right? There's definitely auditory elements to things that we, primarily enjoy through consumption.
Yeah.
And getting that set and setting right can really elevate your cigar and coffee experience as well, right? So here's another thing with coffee, the cup, right? So I've got a sort of unintentional collection of coffee cups that just picked up over the years. My favorite is a Harley-Davidson mug that I got many years ago, and it's got a kind of a wide flat bottom, and then it pinches in the middle and goes back out at the top. So I don't know what that shape is called, but like
a
skinnier in
tempered
the middle.
Hourglass.
Yeah, like
kind of.
Yeah,
Reverse figurado.
Yeah, it's a reverse figurado. And one of the reasons that I like it is it's thin enough that it doesn't cool the coffee down too much, and it has a handle that I can actually hold. Right?
Yeah, fits
Like,
your hand.
Yeah, like 3 fingers, not 4. I do have massive hands, but
Yeah.
I can grasp it. But I have some other mugs that, depending on my mood, I'll pick. So I have a Gas Monkey Garage mug that I picked up in Texas at Gas Monkey Garage, and it's got like a matte black exterior with a almost lime green interior.
Oh.
With the white Gas Monkey logo on it. And that's like kind of my devil may care mug, when I'm pulling that mood.
Feeling dangerous?
Yeah.
Wow. I love the eye mug. Yeah, I wonder if it's clean. I'm gonna go get it here.
And from time to time, I will pour my coffee into a crystal whiskey glass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
And
that's great.
it's great for the temperature. So like the thicker the material, the faster it cools off the coffee. Maybe counterintuitive to some people. So the crystal glass, it's thin, and so it holds the heat well. You got to be careful about burning your hands, but you can kind of hold it up near the top. And it just adds this level of luxury to the experience.
Yeah.
you know?
And then there's also like the visual component, right? You're only looking at the top of the coffee, right? And so you see the top, maybe you see the oil on top, but with the crystal glass, right, you're able to see light through it, right? You can see how dark it is, the amber color, the maybe the striation. Maybe you see, like I left some grounds in there.
Well, I really love doing it with crema.
Yeah.
You know, anything that I prepare like that way in a crystal whiskey glass just looks cool as shit.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, I have the vacuum-sealed double glass wall espresso cups.
I don't have any of those. I need to get some.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, so it's like, I think similar like when you're pouring a beer into a glass, right? If you're pouring into a mug or a stein, that's fine. But like, it's nice to see like the actual rising of the head on a beer.
Yeah. Yeah. I just drink my Natty Bow straight out of the fucking can. That's how
I drink it out of the side of the can.
Side of the shotgun, baby. Oh, so Nick's got his eyeball mug. Here's looking at you on the outside, and then when you tip it over and look inside, there's a fucking eyeball on a stalk, like in the middle of the cup. That's fucking hilarious.
That one too.
Oh, nice.
Tennis, chocolate, and cigarettes.
Nice. And it's like that old school 1940s, 50s, like tintype branding. That's fucking cool. Faultless in manufacture, pure, delicious, and wholesome. Hershey Chocolate Company. Hershey's tennis, chocolate, and cigarettes. There's a fucking combination. Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I love it.
There were a couple mugs. I think you've seen them, Nick, that I've got. So they were from a Christmas market in Frankfurt, Germany. And for whatever reason, the Germans love putting clowns on their mugs.
That's creepy as fuck.
Yeah. So like there's this angel clown and like a dwarf clown. I don't know if it's intentionally clownish, but like bulbous red nose, you know. But the
I mean, they
great
came up
size,
with Santa and Rudolph, so you know they got a thing with.
There's a weird thing there,
oh,
right?
Yeah.
And so I originally got them because they were serving Glühwein out of them, right? And so perfect size, so it's 0.2 liters, so it's like a small glass, small mug with a handle on it. But I found that it's like perfect for coffee, right? Because sometimes I want like a massive mug of coffee, but sometimes I just want a quick small mug, and having like that great little size was fantastic.
And the thing that probably bothers me the most is every morning my wife fixes me a fresh coffee to take to work and puts it in my Yeti mug, and it does a fantastic job of keeping it hot on the 30-minute drive to work. But goddamn, I can't stand drinking coffee out of anything metal. To me, it just, like, I can taste the metal.
Yeah.
I mean, I can taste the plastic, too, because the lid is plastic. But, you know, she compensates for that by using really shitty coffee. So the expectations are so low that, nothing gets ruined. So.
No, I mean, and this gets to, like, the different archetypes of cigar smoking, right? There's the different archetypes of coffee drinking. And, like, for the everyday coffee drinker, most of us aren't worried about, like, is this a good brand of coffee? Do I know the origin of this? Who was the farmer that picked, you know?
It's like a vehicle for caffeine.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so, like, same with the archetypes for cigar smoking. Like, we go in and out of those too, right? So, like, am I in this for just, like, the daily experience for, like, the summer or the season? Or, like, maybe I want to spend some more time with this and learn a little bit more about it.
All right. Well, it's hard to believe we're already up on an hour, but we are, and it is time to rank this cigar. So before we do that, some final tasting notes. Francis, what are your thoughts on this pledge by EP Carrillo?
Yeah, so I don't know about your experience with it, but I've had some like distinct changes. I think there's this solid, like from the initial cold draw, like those notes are still coming through, right? Those have not left. And so I'm still getting that really nice strong cocoa that's been augmented by the coffee we've been drinking. This citrus, specifically like the orange peel, has like fallen away a bit. And in its place, I've had more of the peanut, more of the graham cracker, more of the sort of rounder, sweeter flavors, deeper with the like more chocolate than cocoa notes now.
And Nick, how about How about you? What are you tasting on this Pledge by EP Carrillo?
I think a lot of what Francis said. I'm getting the same. I am also getting. I have so in the box that I aged these in. I have a decent amount of cedar as well, and I can taste the cedar strips in the flavor of the cigar as well. It's a hint of cedar for sure. Yeah, right, yeah. So yeah, I think that it's not like super dark. Like we've smoked darker flavored cigars, right, where it's just bitter and coffee bean and 100% dark chocolate and stuff like that. But this does have that like sweetness rounded to it. But it also has kind of like a little bit of an earth sweetness as well, like a wood sweetness.
Yeah, earthy wood. And I would add that, and I'm probably just past halfway point on mine. There's a warmth coming through, right? Not a heat, not like cayenne pepper, but like a warmth, which really elevates it, I think, because some of the flavors, like, the leather and not the cedar, but definitely the earthy chocolate tones, those are like cool flavors. And there's some kind of warmth picking up in here, so that's kind of cool. All right.
Because it's great because there's it's by no means like a delicate, right? So there are a lot of, it's intricate, there are a lot of flavors to it, but it's by no means like a light, delicate smoke either.
Right. It's I would say it's very bold. Definitely lets you know it's there.
And then quality of the burn too has been fantastic for me. I've had no need for correction. Burns pretty razor sharp.
Yeah, we
really
typically
tight
struggle like on a podcast with like touch-ups because we're talking,
right?
Instead of paying attention to the cigar. It's burned very well, and you can see, we always talk about there's really 4 colors on your burn line. There's the ash, and then there's the combustion line, and then there's the line of tobacco that's sort of heated up behind that, and then there's the rest of the wrapper. So we call it 2 lines, the combustion line and the smoldering line, I guess.
Right.
And typically if a cigar is burning very well and that line is thin, that's a great indicator of age. And this one's burning fantastic for me as well. Smoke output great. The back pressure, draw pressure, spot on. I know that's different for everybody. I happen to be pretty picky about it, and it's perfect for me.
I love that I was able to step aside and pull some shots of espresso and not have to worry about it. Come back, and the cigar was still smoking just fine.
Yeah.
Credit to how it was stored.
That's right.
Credit to how it was stored. Absolutely. All right. So, Nick, what are your thoughts on presentation?
I had never seen this color of blue associated with a cigar for the first time that I laid eyes on this box and this cigar. And so this bronze gold combination with this deep dark blue, and then the darkness of the wrapper, and the kind of bronze gold footband as well. Goodness gracious. I can't not give it a 10. Like, this is
interesting.
I'm not kidding. Like, the first time I saw this box, we knew about the cigar, and I saw it, and it was, my jaw dropped.
Yeah.
I was like, it's that deep blue. I was like, this is incredible.
Well, I think that's interesting because I was waiting to see what you were going to give it. I gave it a 10 as well because I can't think of a way to improve it. The actual cigar itself is drop dead gorgeous. The double band, the ribbon fits with the branding perfectly. The color palette is amazing. I can't think of anything to fix, which is rare for me because, graphic design and stuff is kind of my thing. I've picked on everybody.
I was going to say, we're very picky when it comes to even the slightest thing that we can pick up on, we do.
Yeah. So 10 from both of us. Interesting. All right. How about price? Now, Nick, what's the MSRP on the prequel?
Yeah, I'd say between $12 and $13.
Yeah.
Respectively, obviously, as we note in almost every episode, taxes and
your floor tax,
locality circumstances, might differ that. But a small cigar for $12 to $13. I think see. I think this is the hardest one. I don't mind paying this price at all for this cigar.
Yeah.
Period. I think that Ernesto could charge probably like $14 or $15 for it.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure you're right.
This price isn't perfect though. I mean, I'd if this cigar was $9.50, it'd be a 10 out of 10. But I'll give it an 8.
8 from Nick on price, and I've got a 9 for price. And I give it a 9 because it's worth the price. It doesn't get a 10 because I'm a capitalist and I'd like to have it even cheaper.
So my question with this kind of scoring though is like, do you score differently if it's considered like an everyday smoke versus like a?
Yeah,
this is not an everyday smoke.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's plenty of cigars that at this price point would be a 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And there's a few cigars that would be a 10 at this price point, right? And then there's some cigars that are underpriced, and I've taken points off because they're not positioned in the market well. I can't think of the cigar off the top of my head, but we smoked one on the show, Nick, where the presentation and the experience was really a lot higher than the price, and because of that, they're probably not reaching the audience they want to. So I took a point off for that. So. And how about construction?
Really ideal. Really, really ideal. I can't fault it for a whole lot of anything. I shall give it a 10.
10 from Nick, and I've got a 10. There's not much to add there. The construction was flawless. Nothing flaking off. Nothing to fuck around with. My tongue burned great. Smoke output was great. Back pressure was great.
Hey, how well did all 3 of your bands come off? Because that is we can as far as construction as construction goes, right? We can consider that construction.
Absolutely, yeah. And the ribbon footband on the bottom came right off. That's hard to do. I've had a handful of cigars where I got frustrated because I couldn't not damage the wrapper taking the footband off. Looks like they put it on with a fucking come-along. Got Farmer Joe over there with a come-along and a chain. Putting this, yeah. All right, and flavor. So obviously flavor is going to be subjective, and we kind of rank this on what they were trying to do as well as how we like it. So Nick, what are your thoughts on flavor?
This is really interesting, I think, especially because these are older cigars. And so undoubtedly the flavor has changed over the past 2.5 years.
Of perfect storage conditions.
Yeah. A couple moves. Yeah. I think the flavor's awesome. I wouldn't mind like a tad more punch or strength or something along those lines. Do I think this cigar has gotten better with age? I do. Do I think this cigar was really good to begin with? Also, yes. So it's just like 2 versions of a really good cigar, right? The fresh one and then the aged one. Not for everyone, and not perfect by any means, but I think it warrants an 8.
8 from Nick on flavor, and I've got a 9 on flavor. I think the flavor is superb. I think they nailed it. Not right in my wheelhouse, but I can see folks giving this a 10. If this is what they're going for, it's just hard to beat this combination. If this is your flavor profile. So
it also makes me think about like when Ernesto first said, all right, it's ready to ship, and then it was held off by 8 months. Like how much did that, like aging in the factory, make a difference too, right? And so yeah, just knowing the history on that's pretty cool.
And that brings us to our most subjective and most important metric, which is experience. And Nick, what have you got for experience?
Yeah, today and any other day with the EP Carrillo Pledge, the prequel or the Sojourn. This will always be a cigar that I hold fondly in my memory. And so it will always and forever be a 10 to me.
10 from Nick on experience?
Yeah.
So I've got a 10 as well, which is pretty rare from Johnny Midas.
Wow, look at that.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. One is that this cigar is very versatile. Mm-hmm. You can smoke this as your celebration cigar. You can smoke this as your treat cigar. It's definitely not like a dog walker. I wouldn't smoke this while grilling or mowing the lawn or something like that because it's just too special. And for me, the prequel is the perfect size. Mm-hmm. By the time I've got an inch and a half left on this, and I'm about done. I'm about satisfied. So everything that I look for in a good cigar experience is here. It's one of those cigars that is only elevated by set and setting, mm-hmm. but
it's the kind of cigar that you want to pay attention to.
You want to pay attention to it, yeah.
I'm gonna throw a couple things out here, and I just need you to answer yes or no. Red wine with this cigar.
The right one, yeah.
Bourbon?
Probably not.
No. Really?
It would have to be subtle, right?
Yeah, partly because a lot of bourbons are too sweet. I mean, that's partly my palate, but
steak dinner?
Yes.
Like a mid-afternoon club sandwich? I would say yes.
Maybe.
Like with a little bit, like a Godiva chocolate bar after?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the move. Sunday morning with some espresso?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's just a whole lot of different ways you can do it.
An Islay Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings our final ranking for the Pledge by EP Carrillo Prequel 5x50 to 47, which is our highest score by a long shot. Not too many in the 40s, and I think our second highest is a 43, I think. At some point, we're going to post all these online for everybody. But right now, I think it earned its number one ranking, 98. Again, this is made by EP Carrillo in their Dominican Republic factory. It has a Habano broadleaf wrapper, Maduro finish. The binder is Ecuadorian. The filler is Nicaraguan. And Francis, thanks for coming out and making some coffee for us.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Great pairing as well. I mean, this is a great espresso/coffee cigar for sure. And that's all we've got for you, folks. Thanks, as always, for joining us on Burnline Podcast. We will see you again next week.